What's going on, everyone? Tayler Kyles here for CLNS Media, coming to you live from the Radio Row here at the NFL Scouting Combine. Now, throughout this week, a lot of buzz has been building about the Patriots potentially spending the number 3 overall pick on a new quarterback to reset the direction of their franchise. And a report from MassLive released today sheds some light on that possibility. Now, according to MassLive, the Patriots have a game plan for how they want to address the quarterback position this offseason. The first of those plans is to potentially bring in a veteran quarterback who could serve throughout the season as the starter, while a potential number 3 overall pick at quarterback actually rides the bench and gets an opportunity to learn behind that veteran quarterback. Now, if we're looking at the market, it's not really steeped with talent in terms of quarterbacks that could start throughout the season, although Kirk Cousins, if the Patriots both were interested and Cousins also shared that interest, it'd be an interesting possibility. Obviously, Kirk Cousins is an extremely talented quarterback who was performing like one of the league's best early on last season, but then he suffered a season-ending Achilles injury, and it's going to be interesting to see how he actually rebounds from that injury. Now, Cousins will have interest both from his hometown Vikings as well as potentially the Atlanta Falcons, who are really just one quarterback away from potentially being a Super Bowl contender. Some other options to look at in the veteran market would be Joe Flacco and Jacoby Brissett, both of whom have played under Patriots offensive coordinator Alex Van Pelt in the past. Add Drew Lock to that conversation as well, as he played under T.C. McCartney when he was the quarterback's coach for the Denver Broncos back in 2019. Now, the second plan of MassLive's reported Patriots offseason quarterback plan is to bring in, as I mentioned, a young veteran quarterback who they would likely draft at number 3 overall. Now, if Drake May were to slip to the Patriots at number 3, I say absolutely go ahead, run up to the podium and hand in that card and make him a New England Patriot. I think outside of Caleb Williams, he is the most physically gifted passer. I love his instincts. I also think he's one of the best runners at quarterback in this class, although that's not talked about very often. Although I will admit there are also parts of his game that are scary. His lack of consistency in his fundamentals, his tendency to miss some wide open throws due to those mechanical issues, and some occasionally streaky decision making, although that decision making can also lead to some pretty incredible plays. So I don't think you want to take away that playmaking ability too much, just want to kind of reel it in a little bit. Now, another option, of course, is Jayden Daniels at number 3. I really do like Jayden Daniels. I think that he's shown that he's someone that people want to play for, and we know the Patriots has said they want a leader, someone who's got toughness. Elliott Wolf said the entire quarterback class is full of guys with that toughness, but really a leader, like I said, who people want to play for. Jayden Daniels seems like that kind of player. He's obviously a tremendous deep passer, the best in this draft, the best running quarterback in this draft as well, and he has shown moments where you see improved poise and ability as a passer, especially in his most recent season. Now, that said, Jayden Daniels is one of the older passers in this draft, and he is inconsistent when it comes to how he reads and processes defenses. I'm also concerned about his frame. He does have a slight build, and even when it comes to running, if he does manage to start sliding and not take the big hits that sometimes plagued him in college, there's still the fact that even in the pocket, he's a slimmer quarterback who could potentially take some time out in seasons due to injury. So that does scare me. At number 3, I'd like to see them potentially add more picks inside the top 100, maybe even a first rounder in the future, and then have a little bit more support in case the Jayden Daniels experiment doesn't work out. Now, again, I think he's a very talented quarterback. Number 3 overall just might be a little too rich for my taste. And then I think the quarterbacks in the other tiers, like a Bo Nix or a J.J. McCarthy, although J.J. McCarthy is someone I think could slide up draft boards if he impresses in interviews and throws well during drills. I'm still not quite sold on him with that number 3 pick, but we'll see what happens in the coming days. Now, the number 3 step of that plan is to move on from Mac Jones. And Rappaport reported a few weeks ago that Mac Jones will likely play on another team in 2024 and could be a trade candidate, with some reports indicating he could draw a 4th or 5th round pick. Now, there is some sentiment in the building that Mac Jones was dealt a bad hand throughout the past 2 seasons. Obviously, the offensive coaching staff turnover, as well as the lack of support in terms of personnel, both at offensive tackle and along the offensive line, and at the pass catching positions. Now, I personally think that Mac Jones would be the best option if the Patriots want a year-long bridge quarterback, because somebody like a Jacoby Brissett or a Joe Flacco, they're up there in age. Jacoby Brissett specifically has an injury history, so you can't really bank on them being available in every game if they are dedicated to having a young quarterback sit. But there's also the fact that Mac Jones might have lost the locker room. There are concerns about how well he'd be able to work in a locker room with the younger quarterback who's coming for his job. So I understand that moving on from Mac, especially if internally they don't think he is someone that they can continue on with, probably is the best case scenario for the New England to move on and give Mac Jones as well a fresh start. But I personally am holding out a bit of hope that Mac Jones can get himself back on track with the revitalized Patriots offense and potentially give them a good, solid bridge quarterback for the season. But again, if he did lose the locker room, and then there's also the fact that you have to make sure that he gets over the yips and the mistake-prone play style that he adopted last season and at times in 2022. But there you have it. There's a three-step plan. Bring in that veteran bridge quarterback, draft a quarterback at number 3 overall to become the potential face of your franchise moving forward, and then number 3 is to move on from Mac Jones. It's also notable that the Patriots have met with each of the top quarterback prospects in interviews. That includes Caleb Williams, Drake May, Jaden Daniels, Bo Nix, as well as J.J. McCarthy. Now, I will say that interviews at the Combine, mostly due diligence. You know, you want to have an idea of what these guys are like in terms of someday they may hit the market and you have the ability to bring them in so you have a better understanding of how they are personally. And also with the Patriots having the number 3 pick, they do have to do their due diligence and make sure that they have good reports on how these different players respond to their questioning, how they carry themselves, different things like that. So while it is notable, I wouldn't read too much into interviews during this combine process.
Testing my skills on PrizePicks this season is the most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. If you have the skills, you can turn $10 into $1,000 with just a few taps. Use the code CLNS for the first deposit match up to $100. Pick more, pick less. It's that easy.